Welcome back to the Own Your Power Lifestyle Show. I'm Coach Salon Kelly, author, intuitive life coach, and Reiki master with Own Your Power Communications. We're your trusted guide to conscious living, intuitive wisdom, and personal growth. And in today's show, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, natural hair. What? We're going to be talking about unlocking the natural hair care secrets and getting expert tips from none other than one of my dearest friends I've known since I was, 11 years old? I don't even know how old I was. Milan J. Welcome to the show, Milan.
What? Well, thank you for having me, Simone. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So just a little backstory. She lived around the corner from me, and we were a bunch of playmates that all played together. And I do remember you having this talent of doing hair. And I don't even know if you remember this, but you would braid hair so good and so gentle and so perfect. I could literally fall asleep on your thigh. You remember that? I'm gonna be braiding my hair, and I wake up and my hair's done perfectly. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I learned the gentle touch from my mom.
Yeah, you had to.
But my mom is 100% Asian.
And she knew how to braid hair. She knew how to braid hair.
She was braiding hair. She saw somebody braid hair somewhere on a train, and then she practiced on my head, and then I picked up how to braid in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So at high school bathroom. So we just visual learners. Okay, yeah. But she taught me the soft touch.
As a kid, were you charging yet, or no? You were just doing it for fun?
Yeah, when I got 14, I had a business. Yeah, I was doing it. You got a free service because you was my friend.
Maybe got some free icicles in my house or something. Yeah, that's awesome. So now you're the owner of Chibella Ink Hair Studios, located in Maryland, correct?
Yes.
And so talk to me a little bit about your actual career. So you're a seasoned stylist, we know that, and you've owned and operated 4 salons and more than 26 years of experience. So how did you get started? You got the high school, background, and what happened after 14? Give us a little quick history.
Okay, so it's actually a total of 9 salons in my 36 years. Yeah, so started it when I was 14, and I've always been dibbling and dabbling in hair. I always was like, oh, let me try this, let me try that at the age of 6. So it wasn't my passion. I went to Fashion High School, and on the 9th floor in the bathroom, we had a 9-stall bathroom because it was it was 11 floors or 9 floors. I can't remember where Fashion High School was set up. So on the 9th floor, there were 9 stalls, and each one of the stalls had a braider working, and the girls would sit on the toilet and get their hair braided. And that was back when sweet tea and salt and pepper style, that was back then. So they were doing these braids, and I used to just go in the bathroom and just watch. They would just transform these girls' hair, and they just got all these beautiful braids. And then from that point on, I was just like, I told my best friend, I was like, yo, Pinky, let me practice. And that night, I remember doing what the style called, it was the Bo Derek. And it took me 12 hours, and I did such a good job because each layer that I did, I got better and better. So by the time I got to the front, it was so neat and placed, and I didn't really know how to add hair and braid. I just learned from watching, and it took about 3 weeks from watching, and that was it. It changed for me from that point on. So then I just started charging people around the neighborhood, and then we had the Polaroid camera then, and I took pictures, and then I ripped up my notebook and I put the house number down. And box braids at that time was like $100. So I would stand on Gun Hill Road by the train station with my Polaroid pictures, and I had my loose leaf paper, and I was passing out my paper with the house number and charging $40 for box braids. And that's where it all really began, me doing my business in the house.
Well, I don't know that part of the story, but 14. I think maybe because we lost touch around those ages, because we went to different high schools or whatever.
Right.
Well, wow, that's pretty impressive. All right, so now that you've been in Maryland, how long? How long you been in?
I've been in Maryland since 2003.
Okay.
So 21 years.
Okay, yeah, 21 years.
Wow.
So your salon is most known for hair repair and reconstruction, natural hair, and also like hair healthiness. I know I always remember that being a big thing for you, like not just having nice hair, but having hair care being a big part of what you teach. So talk to me about why is that important to you? Because what have you seen that makes you say this needs to be talked about more?
Well, it's a lost art. Okay, so a lot of the stylists, and it's just sad, a Like a lot of the style, especially in the African American community, was very style driven. And in 2009, the movement of natural hair care or natural styles became pretty much more like the forefront. And a lot of stylists really was stuck because they knew how to care for relaxed hair, and with natural hair, they were doing more damage. And it's a very delicate service. And if you don't understand the hair, you can do more damage to natural hair when it's in its truest form because of lack of knowledge on what products to use, how to treat the hair, how to care for the hair, how to transition the hair, how to moisturize the hair, and all of these wonderful things. And it is not a lot of information out there. So trial and error over the years. And then I think with me always catering to hair care in general, and it just fell into my lap for the majority of my career, is because I dealt with a lot of clients who had some form of autoimmune deficiency, and I was always coming up with some home remedies from the South and from my mom, and I didn't even know that I was creating a brand back then. I just was meeting a service, and that became my foundation of my services, which is restoring. And then the hair care was just an area that was so neglected. So it made us a very unique, a well sorted out business because we had unique services that catered to specific hair needs around hair care.
No, you definitely gives you a competitive edge because you're right. Like a lot of people don't. They just, they want to pay the cheap price to get their hair done and braided, and then they have the pores are popping out. Like what? Let's talk about that protective style. So a lot of people tell me, I have protective style. I have protective style. But then sometimes they keep it in too long. They have tight braids. They have the lace fronts on till they have mold in their hair. I've seen all kinds of horror stories on Instagram. I'm sure you've seen them too. So talk to me about like when does a protective style become dangerous?
When the person who's doing the service don't know what the hell they're doing. That's when it becomes dangerous, and it's been dangerous. As long as the tech is inexperienced on or lack of knowledge on the care for the hair, it's going to be a risk regardless. Understanding there's a large range of texture. Texture just gives you an understanding how much heat to put in, how much hair to apply or what not to apply. Then you got scalp condition, you got autoimmune deficiency, you got to know the history from within and be able to work on the outside, even when it comes down to protective services. Mold, you got to know how tight you're doing, how much space, how often this person should wash their hair. If the stylist just does the style and don't give the client direction on the maintenance, it's going to always be a risk.
Right.
So, so really what issues are out there? I mean, it's just so much to list. What to look for, I would probably say, is if your stylist can't give you a personalized regimen that you see results that's in a positive light where your scalp is highly, I would say, moisturized without you needing to put oil and grease on it. If your hair feels great and it's soft and it's manageable, even if you have a coarse texture and your stylist is taking care of your hair, whether it's silk press, flat twist, that you still see that your ends are still in great shape where it draws up the elasticity, the shrinkage as we call it. The more shrinkage one hair has, the healthier their hair is, or even more durable their hair is. So if you start to realize that the stylist you are going to, your hair is going the opposite direction, don't ask that stylist, my hair is now starting to do XYZ. What do you think is happening? If your stylist tells you, oh, well, you need a deep conditioner, maybe we can trim it, make that your last visit. Because your stylist caused that issue, can't tell you what to do, and she's doing a generalized service, and that's not the proper approach. Because she should know that your hair is transitioned in her hands. I know of my client hair transition, even if I'm servicing them and on a consistent basis, but I know that my client is transitioning because there's some type of hormonal changes happening because I know what I'm doing to their hair. And I know like this time your hair is looking thinner, your hair is holding less curls. Hey, this is what's happening. Why don't you do XYZ? We're going to need to do a protein treatment. I need more elasticity. Something's happening with you. Get your blood work checked out. Then I come back, my client is telling me, wow, I didn't even realize hormonally I'm going through menopause. Oh, my iron dropped. Or my thyroid count numbers was off. You should know as a stylist, or your stylist should know, hey, something's going on with your hair, and you catch it early. Catch it because I'm 50 and I know my hair is full as it can be. And even with that, okay, you know what I'm saying? We get to that age, our hair thins. So I was able to say, okay, my hair's changing up. I'm embracing the age change, but because I know what my hair's doing, I know that I needed to step up my treatment game to maintain the performance where my hair is now, so it doesn't go the opposite way. And I'm doing my treatments and my steam or my flat iron process as if my hair was at 5, 6, 7 years ago. I would have now damaged my hair. I have to meet my hair where it is to keep it at its healthiest point. But you got to be ahead of the game. So if your style isn't, that's not the one for you.
That's great advice. But I also you got to put some blame on the actual the client, because there's some people that we're told the right information, but they don't listen, and they want to keep in the faux locks extra long or the braids extra long, and then the hair starts matting or something happens and they don't wash their hair in between and they don't know what's going on. And I've seen like some horror stories. So,
yeah, you got some accountability on the client because you have that. But in reality, you got to think about it.
Do you have a message to share with the world and you're ready to start your very own professional podcast? Well, it might seem overwhelming at first, but that's if you don't have the right tools and the help. Well, I highly recommend Buzzsprout. It's the easiest and best way to launch your show. Listen, I've had the Own Your Power Radio Network for 10 years now, and I've been on other platforms, but I've seen my business grow tremendously ever since I joined Buzzsprout last year. Now that we're with Buzzsprout, we're able to reach more listeners worldwide because they get your show listed on every major broadcast platform. From iTunes, Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. You'll get a great-looking podcast website, audio players that you can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see who's really listening, tools to promote your episodes, and much more. They offer so many videos and blog posts as well to help you get started. Just follow the link in the show notes and let Buzzsprout know we sent you. When you click the link, it gives you a $20 credit if you sign up for a paid plan. And it also helps support our show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast. Now back to the show.
If you tell the client XYZ and she has all of these issues, of course that's not the stylist part. That's the client part. You know what I mean? So she had been told, but she chooses, or he has chose to go a different route. That's on them.
I have a couple more things, and then I want to just jump into some like actual hair care tips. So one other thing, just a little fun thing I've been noticing is how baby hair has made an amazing comeback. When we were growing up, we didn't even have gel. We would use soap. I remember doing that. We had people would do all kind of weird stuff like soap or grease and put the toothbrush. And now they have baby hair brushes, and now people are cutting their front of their hair because they don't have, they're so bald in the front. They have to cut their hair to make baby hair. So tell me, have you seen any weird things with baby hair happening lately? Anybody doing?
I mean, I've seen the weird things happening with baby hair back in the crackhead stages because they're the ones who originated that look. Think about it.
You said crackhead?
Crackhead. Back in the days, girl, the crackheads used to, remember, slick their hair with grease and water and wear this tiny little ponytail that just be like sticking out like a little rabbit foot. And their baby hair would start here and they would comb it all the way down and then they'd line it that way. You remember that? Crackheads, okay? So now we have a different, we have decorative hairline, baby hair. So where, like you said, that they're cutting it. So my thing is, if it's a trend for right now, it's going to be a trend for, the younger generation that think it's cute. But when they realize that their hair goes back further and further, they're going to realize they do more damage. Right. Listen, at this point, I'm never really surprised at what's happening. But I think the funkiest trend with the baby hair is it's just when they're just doing the most at a certain age. At a certain age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a thing where you might have a ponytail and you're probably in your 60s, you know, maybe the cues and all of that around the side.
Yeah.
And maybe they're, you know, it's just some things. Let certain generations own it. You know, let them embrace that fun look.
Well, the sad part is I know a lot of people in their youth did the ponytail so tight, for so many years that they don't have any edges, so they make, you know, something in the front.
Right, so absolutely.
Share with us maybe your top hair care routine tips. Like if I have natural hair and I want to get some really good advice from you, what are some really good tips that you can share with us so that we can take?
Well, I would say natural as well as natural and relaxed hair.
Okay.
Natural and relaxed hair. Everyone should get a steam treatment. The only person that I probably won't recommend a steam treatment for is someone who has baby fine hair. And there's a difference between thin and baby fine. But a steam treatment is an assisted hydration. It's the act of the water, which is the hydrating part, right? The water is the hydrating. But the steam will allow the breakdown of the product, and it will swell the strand of the hair naturally, and you can get a true deep conditioning. So if your hair is super dry, that is the best way for you to penetrate moisture and lock it into your hair. With someone who has relaxer, you have stripped nutrients and the bonds has been broken. You would need moisture one time of a treatment and then alternate with a protein to keep the integrity of your hair, because you have compromised the integrity of your hair, which will later down the line break on you. And also becomes matted and dry and stiff. So if with the natural hair, in order for you to have manageable, performing, and flexible hair, having hydration monthly is a must as long as you're natural. And the other key thing is less product on your hair is the best. We have strongly oversaturate our hair because of YouTube University. The bottom line is you should not see the product. You should just feel the product. What is mind-blowing, somebody who has my length of hair, when it's all said and done, I look like Lion King when my hair is washed because of the length and the elasticity. But I would only need a conditioning amount of maybe an almond size that would work through my entire hair. Shampoo, maybe 2 or 3 pea size. Clarifier, definitely. If you don't have no allergic reaction to clarifiers, that's the cleaning process. Your shampoo is it's the treatment process that also cleanses the hair. So people have to understand the difference with shampoo and getting your hair cleaned is 2 different things.
Clarifiers. I never heard anybody talk about that. What is that? Clarifier does that. It's a removal of buildup. So you have gentle clarifiers and you have regular clarifiers. It's sulfate, right? So it strips the hair. So a lot of people run from clarifiers because I was like, oh, it's drying of the hair. But if you have used a lot of products on your hair, you're drying your hair already, and that's relaxed as well as natural, especially in the natural world. If you remove the buildup first, now you have clean hair, beautiful canvas, which we use as a clarifier. So you typically use it, you let it sit on the hair. You don't need to rough it up, because what will happen is you'll ruffle the cuticles and it just gets more deeper. But you use clarifier, you remove all the gel, you remove all the element out in the air, you remove your natural oils and all of that stuff. Now you have a beautiful canvas. Then you use your moisturizing shampoo or your protein shampoo. Whatever the ingredients in that shampoo now can take full effect, because you have a clean canvas without any distraction of all of the other buildup. And you use less because why? It's not the shampooing part that's necessary, because your hair is already clean. You now are providing whatever the benefit that shampoo offers. That's why you don't need that much. It stretches your product for much longer. And then you rinse it out in a little bit of conditioner. I always recommend leaving conditioner on both natural and relaxed hair. And that'll be the end of the story. What about scalp, taking care of your scalp? Well, we got kind of 2 levels to this question. People that have hair and people that are dealing with hair loss. Because I have Nikki Clifton, our associate producer, wanted to ask about how do you take care of your scalp if you have hair loss. So I don't know if that's too separate.
Okay, so hair loss, I'm going to put that as a second part. So if you're trying to cater to your scalp, depending on your scalp condition, if you have dry scalp, you can go a natural route. You can check into some teas, and use that as a conditioning. If you want to go more aggressive, you can find some exfoliating, ingredient that you can use and treat just your scalp and then cater to your hair. Hydration with the steam treatment will also keep your scalp moisturized because a healthy scalp is key to have healthy hair. But that steam treatment will also soften the layer of the skin to keep your skin very flexible too, so it wouldn't tighten up. The other thing is no oils on the scalp is ideal. We have had the misconception of thinking we need to grease our scalp. So that's far as keeping the scalp from being clogged up. Now, if you are experiencing hair loss, one, you have to find out what the source of the hair loss is. So there are shampoos, especially ones we use at the salon. We have shampoos that will, a treatment system that will help expedite some of the hair growth, based on if it's genetic, based on if it's medical or stress related or medication, right? So depends on what that is. We use a brand at the salon that kind of covers almost all of it, right? And it doesn't have minoxidil. Minoxidil can be very addictive, meaning in the manner that you'll get the result, but it goes through your bloodstream to grow your hair back. So when you stop using it, your hair will fall out. Now, with the scalp part of it, if you are someone who has no hair due to hair loss, due to alopecia, and your scalp is tight because you're not using anything to hydrate it, you can exfoliate your scalp. It's no different than you exfoliating the skin on your face.
Right.
Our skin on our face is a continuation onto the scalp. It's just a thicker version. So just like if you have a lot of buildup on your skin, it's going to clog your pores, which then can cause open pores and blackheads. If you don't address the exfoliation on your scalp, it will make your skin very tough. One, because of the element. So that again, there are clients that they rock the ball, right? The rock the ball look, because they have alopecia and they're like, honey, just take it all off and let me beat the face, okay? So, but they have to be even more cautious because the sun beaming down, and if they're putting some oil on their scalp, it cooks that skin. So it makes it really tight. You know what I'm saying? So you want to exfoliate. So there's exfoliating. We use nioxin. There's a dermabrasion ointment that you literally sit on your scalp, and it literally breaks and removes the dead skin, and it feels like butter. Your scalp is soft, it's hydrating. So you want to treat it just like you would treat a facial. So even if you are, if you have dry scalp, let's say if you have dry scalp and it's not dandruff, but you have dry scalp, no matter what you do, your skin is fine. A lot of times you might realize that you have a deficiency to yeast. That's a yeast buildup. Or you used to use color at one point. You never addressed the issue that you had a color reaction that stayed as a issue because it never got treated, and you just thinking that this is a dry, itchy scalp process, right? But everything else on your body is operating just fine, meaning like you're moisturized, you don't have no other dryness on your body. That is an allergic reaction that's staying dormant in your scalp. You can figure that out. You can, there's ways, but a lot of it is really due to our internal. So it's so much you got to kind of like go through to just find out what you're allergic to, and that your scalp is telling you what's happening. Right. But if your body is dry throughout, you should check your yeast intake, because that's a sign that your body is reacting to something that's causing like a dryness or eczema. And then with that, you can't really just exfoliate the scalp. You got to watch your intake of certain foods to see how much yeast your intake is throughout the day or the week. And then you start cutting back, and then you can exfoliate it with even black soap. Okay. If you use black soap has a natural ingredient in it, and you'll start to see like you'll get this scabbing effect on your scalp. And if that happens, Yes, that means that you have a reaction to the yeast in your body, and it's now attacking and drying up that top layer. So this is what I discovered. That's another way you can exfoliate and also identify if you have a buildup of yeast within your body, and then you can start pulling back with the yeast, and then we can address the topical more naturally, and before you know it, your scalp is back to normal.
Okay.
I mean, again, that's just a
Lot of
tip of it.
information.
I mean, I can keep going and going
I
and
know, I
going.
know. But I have one other question. What do you suggest is the appropriate amount of time to wash your hair? Once a week, every other week,
Mm.
and include people that are active. I myself, I'm very active in the gym and stuff, so I can't.
Okay, so we'll start off with
Regular person.
natural hair. Natural hair.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll do it in layers.
Okay.
Natural hair, regular day to day person who use a lot of grease or a lot of product in their hair for twisters and things of that nature. They need to wash their hair at least every 2 weeks. Ideally, they need to exfoliate for a longer period. I mean, they need to exfoliate every 2 weeks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, meaning that they need to get that buildup off their scalp. And they can exfoliate with a clarifier on their scalp. If they're active and they use a lot of product, you need to wash your hair every week because that salt buildup on top of all that product you put on there, the salt buildup is going to dry and be drying to your hair. And then two, the product keeps it compacted. It's a confusing message to the scalp. You need to cleanse. You need to remove that. If you're not one that use a lot of product, but you're very active, and you might just do a little bit of moisturize or leave-in conditioner, or maybe a curling custard or whatever the case be, and you're very active, and your hair is more pliable, like you can run your hands through your hair, or is it light, because some people don't want a whole lot of product on their hair. You can take sea breeze and cleanse your pores on your scalp without washing your hair, and you can do that after every 4 days.
Yeah, I know.
And then shampoo your hair once every twice. I'm sorry, what you say?
I know people when they first get locks and they're not allowed, they can't wash their hair because it won't take. They use. Mm-hmm. I've heard of that before.
Well, that's different because they're trying to get the hair, but that doesn't mean you can't clean your pores. You can't clean your scalp. Right. They just don't want you to loosen up the lock. So that's process. And then again, if your loctician didn't use a lot of product, a real loctician who getting your hair started off, we don't use a lot of products at our salon. We just get the hair going and it just build it into a lock. But we'll recommend that the client clean their scalp, whether they use sea breeze or whether they use some type of toner just to open up the pores to keep the pores healthy. So you can do that every 4 days. So that's why I say if you are a natural and you don't use a lot of products, you can cleanse your pores, and you're active, you can cleanse your pores every 4 days, and meaning just take it with a Q-tip or little spray bottle, go through your pores, because you're not really having no silk pressed out anyhow. Mm-hmm. If someone is relaxed, they cannot shampoo their hair as often if they're very active. They need to shampoo their hair at least twice a month, just so that the hair doesn't dry out even more because they've pulled so much of the nutrients of the hair. So active lifestyle, you should cleanse your pores, cleanse your scalp every 4 days. Shampooing your hair, you should really do it no more than weekly. Someone who's not as active, a lot of product, they need to shampoo their hair at least weekly just to get the buildup of the product off. If you do it every 2 weeks, you need to remove that buildup on your scalp, but you can keep the remaining product on your hair, so because it might just be easier for you. So if just giving you a regular, so no more than 2 weeks, no less than a week no less than a week if you have to shampoo your hair. Does that make sense?
Yep. It makes a lot of sense. One thing I want to ask, because you're such a busy woman, you're running salons and you're expanding, as from what I hear. Shush, hush, hush. I'm not gonna tell too much of your business. But tell me, what do you do for you? What do you do for me time? Like, what do you do to unwind, to relax?
I like to get under the covers and just watch movies. Okay. Think about absolutely nothing and watch my phone to see who's calling and don't answer is like a highlight, because it's like It's like I'm not answering. You know what I mean? Like that's my me time. It's sad, but it's just because I'm a workaholic. I love it. But the other thing is I'm a foodie, so I love trying new things far as restaurants and stuff. But I don't really like. I'm an introvert. I'm sociable, but I don't think you ever knew that I'm an introvert.
I mean, I get it because yeah, and in my old age now, I'm starting to become one, but I'm both as well. Like I like to be by myself more
Yeah,
than
I know
um,
how to do the role.
yeah, we know how
You
to
know what
talk
I'm saying?
on the show. But before we go, tell us how we can find you, how people can book an appointment with you if they're in the area. Give us the information. What do we need? Website, Instagram.
Just go on the website, Chibella, CHIBELLAINC.com. Tap on to request a service. And when you do, you'll see all the services that we offer. And when you're ready to make an appointment, just go ahead and call. You cannot book online by yourself because you don't know what you're going to be asking for. So we will book the appointment for you. And we do require a deposit of $50 for your first visit, which will get applied to your service. You may not get me. And if you do get me, just know that I'm not inexpensive. I'm being honest. You get what you get.
It's your salon. I mean, you should be the VIP price, right? So
it's like they say. It's like for my 36 years, if you want to deal with the best of the best, you're gonna pay for the best of the best, but you're gonna get your results. You're gonna get immediate results,
right.
and that's me.
But I will give you a little not pointer, but the pointer you gave me many years ago. You did talk about steaming hair. So I learned about that from you. So
that's so
thanks
nice.
for educating everybody, and thanks for being here. It was so good to see your face, my former playmates.
Right.
I love chatting with you, and we'll see you next time. We'll definitely have you back, I'm sure.
Girl, I don't know. I'll tell you later. I forgot.
Wait, pause. I got 1, 2, 3. All right. So tell us how, if anybody's in town, how can they reach you? How can they book an appointment?
They can definitely book an appointment through our website. They just go on there, which is chibellainc.com, and they can request a service, which it will open up to all the services, and then they call in to schedule an appointment. And we do require a deposit on your first visit.
All right. So make sure you guys take advantage of it. Try to get her if you can, but if not, I'm sure all your people are well trained, and we look forward to having you back again. I'm sure we'll have a follow-up show talking a little bit more depth about whatever people talk about in the comments. We'll see. So thanks again for being here. I almost called you your other name, but we
either way, I'm still them.
To be here, Milan.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode on the Own Your Power Radio Network. If you loved what you heard, do us a favor and give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us reach more people like you who are ready to own their power. Stay connected with us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Facebook, and even Own Your Power TV on YouTube. Until next time, remember, anything you want is attainable. Own your power.